I gotta commend these guys, right? Like, they did try for, oh my god, the reinforcement cycle towards this place is just hilarious. I love Stellaris, but I love Jank even more, which is why today we'll be applying an empire strategy from the Lazy Builds channel and see how fast I can get A, everyone to hate me, and B, consume the galaxy in no time flat. It's a little bit of fair warning, however, this Jank involves Gaia Worlds. Let's get started, shall we? Allow me to introduce you to my empire. This is the Sildor, specifically from the Galactic Gourmands, because yes, they do love to consume everything in sight. Yes, they are a necrophage, and on top of that, a hive mind. Plus, there's a couple of other fun things thrown into the mix. They are also a devouring swarm because of the delight that is consuming everything in sight. And stargazers, we'll get to that soon. Stargazers kind of puts us in the back foot at the start of the game, which is a little bit unfortunate. However, we have a little bit of a strategy going on here. Basically, it doesn't matter what happens, every single species that we will encounter will be turned into us through the necrophage purge mechanic, which is rather cool because we could go to the default rights here. Necrophage is automatically enabled here. So any planet that we find will turn into more of us. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of planets around us already, but we're not necessarily interested in these ones. No, we are interested in something more perfect. Before we continue, the worlds that we are looking for are Gaia planets, which are, of course, perfect. Perfect like a very good shed in somebody's backyard. And building sheds is challenging, because I need to essentially terraform my backyard into that Gaia environment. Thankfully, today's sponsor, Brilliant, has a perfect course for all of this. Brilliant has gamified learning, which means that instead of learning what a Goldilocks zone is from a stuffy book, I can instead learn it right from my screen and see the concept in action and even apply the theory behind it. Need to figure out how long a Mars rover can survive on that planet? Sounds like a perfect analog for how long it will take for my foundation to dry for my shed. Of course, it's not all crazy. There's tons of daily applicable courses available that you can use to learn in your spare time at your pace. From simple math to complex algebra, from thinking in code to introductions to neural networks. It's all there in an easy and playful format. So why not try it out? It may help you in your day-to-day work or just allow you to keep your mind sharp. Get started for free for 30 days, and the first 200 people who sign up with an annual plan by visiting brilliant.org/ASpec get 20% off. Let's get our little fledgling empire started. As you can see, we are on a nice little bar galaxy, but that should not annoy us too much. What we do need to do, however, is take a look at our ship setups. We are, of course, pre-FTL, or specifically we are stargazers, which means that we can see a lot further right off the get-go. So we can see a lot of systems that are in the distance, plus we have the ability to jump towards them. Now, first of all, what we're going to be doing is we're going to go ahead and survey this system, and we are going to go ahead and survey this system over here. And we should probably try to get a engineering vessel on standby as well. Secondly, because we are a necrophage, we will spawn by default with several hive-minded species around us that we can integrate relatively quickly within our empire, which is incredibly useful. However, what we are really after is more primitives that we can turn into ourselves, and there's a lot of different varieties that we can do there. So let's just keep the clock going and then take a look at what is up with our capital. Because as you can see, our economy ain't doing too hot, and that has mostly to do with the fact that we are vastly overproducing amenities. Plus 38 amenities is way too many, and we just don't want to have that. It's way too much, and we can use those in other places. As you can see, we don't have enough menial drones as it is. Too many complex drones. Why? Because all of our necrophage pops are currently being turned into, well, more of us, but it means we don't have enough capacity here. So we're just going to go ahead and remove most of these maintenance drones if we can. Like, we're just going to delete all of them, I say, and we want to prioritize mining drones because we need to get mining up and running. We should have enough +4 amenities right now, which is good. Food is a bit of a problem. It's -12 right now, so let's just remove 2 of these, plus 7 is good. Maybe 1 tech drone. Okay, we got plus 14 food now, and our economy is stable because we had just that many amenities. We can fill those up later using pops that are coming in from the Necros, but in the meantime, we have a nice and stable economy. We're growing more than enough pops, and it's going well. The first thing is, however, is what kind of pops are there on this planet? Because as you can see, there's a pre-FTL society here, and they are in the Iron Age, and they will be joining us very, very soon. Time to take a look at our very first tradition. Now, because we are Necrophage hive mind, it means that we have some very interesting selections available, specifically under synchronicity. Now, if we adapt synchronicity, first of all, we will get a bunch of cool agendas, plus we have a reduction in pop-up keep. That's all nice and all. However, the unity of mind basically means that whenever we are necrophaging pops, it will provide unity. We are forced necrophaging pops all the time, which means we will get tons and tons of unity. Plus, collective reasoning gives us additional stability, which is great. Flexible through routines, additional edict fund, which is also useful. So we're going to go ahead and get synchronicity specifically so that we can get unity of mind as soon as possible, within 15 months. And we will be basically consuming pops the entire time whilst that is running. Alright, we got 2 primitive societies, which is great for us. We're just going to go ahead and colonize this place. You, however, are going to survey this system, and you are going to survey this system, because obviously we need a road towards this next place that we want to pick up. There's a continental world here and another continental world over here, so it could be that there's another society slash species in this particular area, so we will need to be careful. But soon we will start our grand campaign into the stars to find our perfect worlds, because we know that they are out there. So, we're slowly but steadily expanding. In the meantime, I'm building a bunch of transport ships. Usually you need like 2 or 3 of these for to basically conquer primitives, especially if they're Stone Age variety. But in this case, I'm just going to play it safe and have 3 fleets on standby here. And it's going to jump them over into the system to take care of these primitives, because we need to add them to our empire quite quickly. Yes, please land those armies for me, please. What have we got here? Hole in the ground. Always nice. And there's another planet over here that we may be able to terraform later on. Anyway, we are 1, but you are also 1, and now we are 2. I love how this is how broken this is sometimes. Anyway, we should be able to pick up this this planet relatively quickly here, and there we go. So we've subjugated these primitives, which is exactly what we want to do. Now we need to do something really important here. Because these primitives are hive mind, they will automatically be added to our hive, because we have the subsumed functionality here, which is great for us. However, we want to make sure that these guys can grow, because they got their own bonuses, etc. So we actually need to make sure that we set their rights to allow to colonize, make sure that they have no population controls and no migration controls, so they can just go wherever they need and fill up the planets that we just need them to do. And we need to make sure that we have the right type of planets as well. And we need to balance things out quite nicely. Now, right now, this place doesn't seem all that great. We do have quite a lot of minerals coming in from the homeworld, so setting this as a forge world is probably the way to go here. So let's do that. We have hive districts. This seems broken. This seems very, very broken. I'm unsure why I've got city districts and hive districts here. And there is the second one. Good. All that stuff is coming along nicely. We're going to go ahead and once again make sure that we are setting these guys also as having no population controls on them, so they can spread nice and far. Very nice. And make sure that we have stuff going. But now we need to go and look somewhere else. We want to go and make sure that the galaxy at large does not become a problem to us in the long run, because as you can see, there are already some things here that may be problematic, and we are stargazers, which means we have basically no defenses, which is not that great. However, there seems to be a little bit of a system over here that would be extremely useful to what we're about to do. We've just managed to get corvettes as well as science technology, so now it's time for us to build a small fleet. We don't want to go too overboard here, but at least we got some firepower under our belt. Plus, we can start getting some more exploration ships as they go all around, and make sure that we have enough space to, you know, do surveying, etc. But we've got one ship over here who is surveying something very close to our target, the 𝙋𝘼𝙄𝙉 system. Once we are on the 𝙋𝘼𝙄𝙉 system, well, then all of our, well, hopes and dreams should come complete. However, we need to be really careful and make sure that we have enough star bases, because once again, we are stargazers and we do not have the firepower to fight against anybody, even though we're fanatic purifiers, eager purifiers even. And there we go, we've arrived in 𝙋𝘼𝙄𝙉. There's one small problem, however, and that is the path to 𝙋𝘼𝙄 is very, very long, and I don't know whether or not we'll be able to squeeze a engineering ship in here, and it may cost a ridiculous amount of influence to get 𝙋𝘖, which is the follow-up system. It's going to be really important that we can claim that, but we shall see how that goes. Like I said, we need to be careful, because this could be extremely expensive or just extremely cool. We'll see. Well, we've made first contact to 2 empires, which is objectively bad. We should probably do some spy mastering on those. The problem with them is that they may try to attack us at any moment, which is, I would say, problematic. So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen, or at least to make sure that we have a lifeboat in place, which is exactly what we're doing at the moment. Again, we want to take 𝙋𝘼𝙄𝙉 as soon as we can, because so far we don't know if there's anything around this part of the galaxy, and if we need to move our entire population over, then that is something that we need to do, and then we'll just come back. But, well, we'll see. We'll see. We just need to find some planets in this area, specifically Gaia Worlds. A bunch of them, if possible. Speaking of which, there's Grand Theft Planet. Okay, 𝙋𝘖𝙄𝙉 has been found. We're currently surveying the system. There is so many Gaia worlds here. Like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Gaia worlds for us. Now, normally, we could play the game properly and basically say, hey, we would like to have Sol X sent back to our capital system, please. But we are in it for the jank, which is exactly why we're going to abuse the ever-loving hell out of this system. So much to devour, indeed. Alright, so we have been saving up influence for quite some time, and now it's time to go and spend that influence on the 𝙋𝘖𝙄𝙉 system. I also have my fleets just sitting just outside of this place, as well as my invasion fleet. Now, normally this would not be a wise idea, because as soon as you try to conquer this place, it will lock everything off, all the hyperlanes will immediately stop, and you can't really do anything with it until you've discovered hyperdrive technology. Well, not so much hyperdrive technology, jump drive technology. However, we are stargazers, which means that we basically get jump drive technology for free right off the get-go, which is great. We're actually going to go ahead and actually just remove one of our invasion fleets at the moment. And because of this, we can just jump in. So what we're going to do here is we're going to very casually move our invasion fleet into here, and they're just going to go ahead and land an army on 𝙋𝘼𝙄𝙉 3. I think that would be a very, very wise thing to do. Because, well, we'll see shortly why that is a thing. Okay, yeah, it's, we angered a Gentile race, and now they have locked everything off. Now, this is the thing. This is where the jank comes in. Because we have disabled or completely stripped our ship design of everything, it means that these guys have now copied our fleet design, which is awful. So what we can do is we split one of our ships off of our main fleet, select it, wait for it to be ready to jump in, which shouldn't be particularly long, and then they should trigger with an empire with no fleets and only a station, which means that all my fleet has to do is to kill a station, which is not going to be too difficult with the amount of fleet power that I have available. So yeah, 𝙋𝘖𝙄𝙉 delenda est, because we are abusing the game's systems super hard. And here we go. Diplomacy was never an option. They will instantly spawn with a fleet of 0 fleet firepower, which is great, but they also have, of course, a standard station. Nothing too shabby. 801. We should be able to take that without too much of a problem. And we're just going to go ahead and move all of our fleets into position because, well, as they said, peace was, in fact, never an option. There they go. All of our ships taking down enemy armies and all of that jazz. So there you go. Very nicely done. It's kind of just bouncing around doing all the crazy stuff. It's not really all that important. All we need to know is that they are currently engaged with an enemy fleet that has no weapons on it, which means that they can't really do anything. And my fleet is too busy shooting missiles at a station over here that is probably the biggest danger to us right now. And it has flipped. All we gotta do now is take the enemy fleet, and that will be it. Ah, such a delight. There goes the combat. And we will win. Let's put it that way. Ah, such a delight. Alright, with that out of the way, it's time to send in the troops. And start landing our troops on those planets. Remember 𝙋𝘼𝘄𝙉 3? Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and land an army on there. Yes, there we go. There we go. The great thing about this is that immediately the population will be starting to be converted into the type of pops that we need, which is great for us. And on top of that, it will be generating a ton of additional unity because we are converting. Plus, we're going to need to set this world up as an industrial world, which we already have, and all of the jazz that comes with that. Let's move on to 𝙋𝘼𝘄 number 1, shall we? Maybe we can do some stuff here too. Take this planet very nice and casually. I'd like to point out we're only like 25 years into the game. And we now have 2 Gaia Worlds. Are we ready for Gaia World number 3? I think we are. We're just going to go ahead and take the next one in the pipeline. Ah, there we go. Ah, such a delight. Another Gaia World under our control. Let's go to Dasha number 2. Ah, there she is. Ah, such a delight again. And another one under our control. And are we gonna get another one? Surprise. We are. I think there's only one more. There it is, Sol 10. Let's go and get Sol 10 under our control. And then we are done with it. Then it's 25 years into the game, and we have 6 Gaia Worlds under our control. We immediately will need to turn this into a new sector, and then it is time for sector management stuff, because we are now the gods of this galaxy. I like how instantly we're being targeted for war preparations. Probably has something to do with our fleets being away, but it's not all that important. We should probably send these boys back home and reinforce the homeland, so to speak, before this war kicks off between this consolidated shenanigans, because they are becoming a little bit problematic in the long run. But we have other problems, and that has mostly to do with our economy. So we are at minus 64 energy, which is totally overcomable, and minus 48 food, which we can also deal with as well. All of the pops on these planets are currently being transformed into necrophages. And yeah, they're basically being turned into our own pops. 40 here, another 14 over here. It's just so many. 70 over here, 23 over here, 53 over here. What we could do is we could spread some of the thicker stuff over to basically our capital worlds for a base cost of 75 energy, but considering how our economy looks like right now, I don't necessarily want to do that. But this is also the reason why the stability modifier comes into play, so that we actually have relatively stable planets, even though the entire population is effectively marched into the conversion chambers. What we also want to do is want to make sure that we've got spawning pools on every single one of these planets as fast as possible, just so that we can actually grow these population centers, which is really important. Plus, a good governor is probably a good idea. Yeah, efficient builder is probably a good one that we want to apply here. And from this point onwards, we can use this as basically our new capital. It's pretty far away from the rest of our empire, but because we are stargazers, we can basically do whatever we want, because we can just jump this gap. It does mean that right now we have a fairly significant technological disadvantage, which means that we need to build up our capital as a technological powerhouse as soon as possible. We also want to make sure that everything is just running super smoothly in terms of like features. It's collapsed burrows. We should probably use that. But yeah, having this this army coming into our general direction is a potential issue, and we want to make sure that we are ready. They got a couple of interesting ships on standby here. There's 130 over here. Where is their main fleet? 1,300. That's fine. We can handle that. The main thing is here, as long that we have the ability to reinforce our main fleet. Now, obviously, the problem is that we do not have hyperdrive. Hyperdrive is really, the lack of hyperdrive is really putting us on the back foot right now. And we want to make sure that we get that back up and running as soon as possible. Because if we don't have hyperdrive, we won't be able to compete with the other troops or the other empires, really. Which is something that we obviously cannot afford. We want to make sure that our ships are as cheap as possible. But in the meantime, though, having 𝙋𝘼𝙄𝙉 under control by 2225 is really, really nice. I've managed to do this by 2015 in the past. You can do it super quickly if you really want to. There's debris in the system. There's fusion reactor debris, which obviously is a big bonus. But yeah, you it's basically you're an instant powerhouse because you are a Gaia world, which means that your resources will just shoot through the absolute roof beyond this point. And these guys can't even get to us, which is even funnier. So you can go to war as long as you want. We can just move all of our population over to Dasha. Like, what are you going to do about it? Well, there's that war that we expected. They are after basically everything. That is delightful. I don't know whether or not they're going to get very far. Our main problem, obviously, once again, is our lack of hyperdrive systems. But we do want to reinforce our stations as fast as possible. I don't even know that their fleets can actually crack our stuff, because they got 1,300 firepower per fleet, basically, which is fine on paper. But our stations are significantly stronger than that. Like, there's not much they can do here. And did they just drop wreckage? No, they did not. Okay, they did not drop wreckage, which is unfortunate. But yeah, they're not going to win this war at this rate at all, because we're just going to be able to just, run over them without too much hassle, which is unfortunate for them. But for us, obviously, you know, we're just gonna take their worlds. So good luck with that, boys. Good luck. Well, the party is over. I've got hyperdrive. The galaxy is doomed. Alrighty. Well, that sucks for them. We're just probably going to need to swap in some different slots here. 1,300 fleet power. Like, I can just literally move my capital fleet away from the border, which is what I'll do, and I'll just upgrade all my ships. Like, there's no reason not to do this at this moment in time. So we're just gonna go ahead and upgrade this. Apparently there's some stampeding drones on Dasha 2. Why is the deviancy so high from pops? Probably something to do with the fact that there's quite a lot of destroyed stuff here, which is obviously unfortunate. Something tells me we need to do something with the sentinel posts if we, you know, want to survive the long term. Even though stability is still pretty high, so I'm not too concerned there. Yes, strike craft. More star bases. Ooh, more shields. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. We just need to convert all of this stuff proper. In the meantime, these idiots are still bashing their head against my station. I'm not entirely sure why. All they're doing at this moment is basically giving me what amounts to free technology. I'm okay with this. But, yeah, let's just do the surveying here, and then we just make a technological jump into the future. Because as soon as all my fleets are updated here, and I think that they are, yes they are, it's hyperdrive time, baby, and all of your worlds are going to be consumed by me, yours truly. So this is the thing, right? We are at war with this other empire. They declared war on us. Their mistake, obviously. But, yeah, we're just gonna go straight for the jugular and just rip their throats out, so to speak, with our armies. This war is about to end. They call it the self-protection war for some reason. I don't know why, because, you know, apparently they don't have that many armies on their capital world. All that means, basically, is that, yeah, all of their pops are now going to be subsumed into our glorious empire. What it does, however, mean is that probably everybody is going to hate us, but, you know, that's something that we'll deal with later. Regardless, this is going to need to be designated as a new planet, so we'll just set this up as a tech world right away, just so we can keep the technology rolling, whilst at the same time also making sure that we jump forward to the next planet down the line as soon as we can, because, you know, clock's a ticking. This war is going to end at some point. The hive hungers, these guys are weak. It's time to absorb them. The Irabot awareness. How bad could it be, right? Like, I've got more than enough firepower here to rumble through the jungle, so to speak. Let's just send out my fleet, and I'm sure that I will have some horrible, horrible things to deal with once we get there. I should also buy some of this stuff off. Yes. Yes, take that territory, please. We are growing. We are feeding. It is going well. Well, guess we very rapidly killed off that empire. We are spreading real fast now. Guess we'll just have to start looking south then towards these empires, because they're clearly all weak, and we are consuming an insane amount of pops at this point. We are at almost 500 pops 50 years into the game. That's due to the powerhouse of the cell that is, of course, the Dasha system, which is just cranking out resources like nobody's business. We're doing 150 alloys at this point, which is reasonable, but we're just consuming every single thing that we have in sight. So, not much they can do. Unfortunate for them. Very unfortunate for them. Another empire consumed. Our arm of the galaxy is starting to look more and more like food central. We do have a small energy problem, though, so we're going to need to boost up our economy in that direction. Even though I do think I've got enough planets to deal with that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't think producing any resources in the long run is going to be a real problem here. At least on our side of the galaxy anyway. Until, you know, we're just ready to bash through to their side. 2262. We almost have half a galaxy under our control. Alrighty, so I got a little bit too excited invading all these worlds, and I did not realize that not only is this a fairly large planet, it's more a case that there is a sky dragon over here, which can cause some troubles in the long run. So we don't necessarily want to mess around too much with that one, if we can avoid it. However, we'll just insulate them over from the rest of the galaxy. I think that will be probably the best approach here. And the problem is we do need to bypass basically the system as much as possible, whilst the rest of our fleets are just bouncing around and taking names and kicking ass. So we've conquered half of the galaxy. It's a couple of years later, and there is no way for these other empires to get to me, because they will have to go through this fallen empire over here, which is perfectly fine. It just means that I just going to need to swarm over the northern side of the rest of the galaxy and just take them all by surprise in order to conquer this. However, I feel some more jank coming up. Because there is a relatively large amount of environmental species here, and I am a hive mind, I would like to let them join us. And in addition, there is also this other empire in the middle here that's causing some problems still with 𝙋𝘼𝙄𝙉, the internal flames, which is of course a dragon. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and reform our government. Subspace FS is out, and cordyceptic drones is in. Yeah. Let's get ourselves some dragons. Well, war's here. That's fine. We're just gonna go and ramshackle everything we can into this system. We want to get every single space life form that we can up and running, and they'll be jumping in right now. Oh no, a guardian dragon. Whatever will we do? Yeah, ion cannons and tachyon lances is what we will do. It would appear that the flame is having some trouble, and we're gonna go ahead and just send in the necro drones. It's nice empire you got there. It would be a shame if something happened to it. And because of that, we're just going to need to grab one of our many science ships, and we're just going to go ahead and do some research projects in these systems. Because this space here is Delenda Est. Outpost rebuilt. How fascinating. How does 122,000 fleet power sound to you? Yeah, it sounds pretty great to me, especially considering we've added it to the hive, and now it's just quickly jumping from place to place because there is more stuff to pick up, such as the matriarch over here. We're going to go ahead and just slay that one, and tell you what, we're just going to go ahead and add some more hunger to our tally. We're going to go to these two planets over here, and we'll just take them. Like that's basically how that works. So I got quarter-septic drones, and obviously I got myself a dragon, but things got a little bit out of hand. I now have a little bit of a menagerie going on here. That's a void spawn of 178,000. That's the void dragon, and that's the matriarch. But there is a bigger problem. I kind of sent these guys out on a little excursion, and long story short, I've got a little bit of a planet problem, as in I've got quite a large frontier sector that needs to be dealt with, and I've conquered basically most of the galaxy at this point. Everybody is under my grasp, and if they're not, then they're going to be soon, because now we're going to need to invade the largest empire that just remains, and all the other stuff will just fall like the dominoes that they are. Of course, you know, because I'm rampaging all over the galaxy, the galactic community at large has, of course, decided that there is a galactic crisis. It is, however, not me. It's actually Felarian Hive, this tiny, small empire to the north. I have no idea what those guys are doing up there. It doesn't really matter because everybody is now going to fight the Felarian Hive for some reason. I don't really care. I'm just om-nom hungry hippoing my way through this small little shindig over here. And there's not much that they can do about it because I'm going to eat them all alive. Now even the Felarian Hive is joining in. There's just nothing they can do. It's just such a mess. Would you look at that? Is that a Star Eater I spot? That is very cheeky there, Felarian Hive. It's a shame we're going to need to put a stop to that now, because how much firepower? Oh, you have a pretty significant amount of firepower. That's going to be painful. That's several 100,000. I've got several 100,000 of myself as well, but a lot of the stuff is currently missing because, you know, weird stuff happens sometimes. At least a lot of these fleets are being reinforced at the moment, but still problematic. Oh my god, first chamber. Please don't do that. Automation, all that. Oh wow. So the Hive has kind of messed up. They've pissed off the Fallen Empire, and the Fallen Empire is currently in the process of kicking their ass, which is not good for them. I'm just gonna go ahead and declare war as well, because they are basically the last man standing between me and, of course, this Hiver scenario over here. So I'm not too concerned about it. We're just gonna go and kick the door and just be done with it. First, though, we're gonna need to take these other worlds as well, because there's a lot of small stuff here and there that we can still capture. I gotta commend these guys, right? Like, they did try for, oh my god, the reinforcement cycle towards this place is just hilarious. Anyway, yeah, I gotta commend these guys. They did try to destroy the galaxy, and let's just say that the powerhouse of Dasha was just way too much for them, because the reinforcement cycles on all of this stuff is just absolutely insane. So, yeah, it's... Again, I think that they did a pretty good job. But, their empire has now come to an end, and I will be taking control of the system. And with that, I will effectively win the game, because their galaxy will be completely and utterly the void spawn comes in to say hi as well. I got 13,000 troops jumping in on this shenanigans here. Ignore the Dragon Slayer stuff, is not important. Aerophasic engine destroyed. Exciting stuff for everybody. Look at that. It is just gone. And with that, we're just gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, we did quite a lot of work here, and, you know, blowing up planets and all that stuff. You know, that comes with all the stardust in the world, and, you know, the people over at Brilliant have a great course on that. So be sure to go ahead and check that out. In the meantime, I'm gonna go and wrap it up here. We've won. The galaxy is ours, because of the amazing jank that is the Dasha system, which is Russian for shed. See you next time.